with the possibility of Vince McMahon starting a new promotion and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Posting a clip from the WWE World event, The Rock shared a moment with two siblings.
What? Why do you think I got tickets for WrestleMania on Sunday?
Oh, it feels like you're gonna blow me into something. Why should I get tickets for WrestleMania?
So I can see when you beat Cody.
Got it. I see you have a rock shirt on. I appreciate that. Want to take a picture? Oh my God! He said you're literally my idol. You hear that? You hear this kid?
Wait, can you get my brother?
Can I get your brother a picture?
Yes, him, right there in the glasses. Him in the glasses.
With the glasses?
Yes, him in the glasses right there, please.
What's his name?
Junior.
Junior, come on, Junior.
Yeah!
Walk him down on the chair.
As Nikki Bella recently revealed that she considered joining AEW, president of the company, Tony Khan, said this about it on the Battleground podcast. If Nikki Garcia ever wanted to come into AEW, I would be very interested in that. I think the world of her. I have so much respect for Nicole and Brie. They're like family to us because Brian is like a part of my family, and that means Brie and Nicole are part of the family. So I have so much respect for both of them. And if Nikki was interested in coming to AEW, we would love to have her here anytime. That was so great to hear. It means the world, and I just like both of them so much. I think they're really, really cool and really, really great stars that would add a lot to AEW if they ever wanted to come. Discussing the performance of LA Knight at WrestleMania 40, Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast, LA Knight is one of the favorites of The Office. I haven't totally bought into his persona, not to say it in a bad way. I haven't seen him do anything that I didn't like. I just gotta feel it more. They gotta do a little bit more character development to get me to buy into who this dude is and why I should give a He's got a good future ahead, no doubt about that. My goal would be to get the best matches that you can in the ring. LA Knight can talk and he can take bumps, he can feed a comeback, the same as a lot of guys. That's what you look for. Can you mechanically execute what is needed to be done? All the guys we talked about here today, they can all do that. Mentioning his interactions in AEW with CM Punk, Brian Cage told Whatnot, CM Punk wasn't bad to me, wasn't always good to me, wasn't bad to me, which is kind of whatever, and I think too, because he knows I was a West Coast guy, so I'm kind of Team Young Bucks. But I remember it took a while too for us to actually talk and properly introduce, and it was fine, we squashed it, and I had his last match on TV. I took the last GTS on AEW, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and assume the way we talked and structuring the match, I know he didn't think he could give me the GTS. I think he felt like I was going to be no heat or shade towards Ryback, but I think he thought I was going to be a jacked up whatever. Obviously, he's having flashbacks with his heat with Ryback. So I'm like, bro, no, don't worry, I got you out there. And after we had the match, he actually was a super fan of mine, was big on me, super high on me, and I felt good. I was like, maybe I'll get a little political rub backstage now. Cool. And then he had to go into business for himself and get fired, so it didn't work out so well for me. Recalling his promo against The Rock where he made a reference to LDS, Cody Rhodes said this to the SI Media podcast. Fans in the arena loved it. There was a huge joy to this interview I did. However, for me, I felt a little guilty because I have a lot of young fans, and I would never want them to ask their mom about LDS or this or that. My run with WWE has been really for the family audience and really for the little nightmares, these little kiddos. I just wouldn't want to lead them astray in any way, and hopefully that interview didn't turn them off to me if I am their guy as their guy. Everyone after was so pumped about it, my wife was digging it, and I remember thinking I felt a little guilty. Following his loss in a steel cage match to Trick Williams on NXT last night, Carmelo Hayes would receive an ovation from fans.
Thank you, Mello. 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 Thank you, Mello.
Taking a subtle jab at AEW, given that WWE is returning to Jacksonville, Florida, Grayson Waller told Going Ringside, finally, some good wrestling in Jacksonville. I feel like it's been years since we've seen some really good wrestling in Jacksonville. That's what we're bringing back. Somehow, $20 for a ticket. I don't know how I feel about $20 to see the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Right now, I feel we have the best roster in WWE history, hands down from the bottom to the top. The SmackDown roster is on fire. Things do feel like a new era. Cody said Renaissance era. I think that's the perfect name for it. The SmackDown roster fully exudes that. If you want to see a show, anyone who was at WrestleMania, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, live wrestling, there is nothing else like it. Now we're coming to Jacksonville. It's not like you can support the Jaguars. That team sucks. Trevor Lawrence, he's horrendous. Pretty much any sports team in Jacksonville sucks. Maybe you want to come see a real champion because you won't be seeing one anytime soon. Touching on the reaction Jack Perry received in Chicago during the recent New Japan show, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks said this to Sports Illustrated. He's been the next breakout star for a while now, and he just needed something controversial to happen to him to open people's eyes. It happened with us early on in our careers too, Matt Jackson added. Jack Perry was one of my original AEW hires. I saw a video clip of him on the indies, and then I went and watched everything I could find. Years prior, I'd heard stories about a 9-year-old boy being brought to wrestling training in Southern California by his celebrity dad, Luke Perry. I wondered whatever happened to that kid. Apparently, he'd been working hard and turning into a heck of a talent. I watched the videos and thought, whoa, young, handsome SoCal kid with a great head of hair. Seems misunderstood, has tons of confidence. He reminds me a lot of me and Nicholas at his age. Coming back from Japan, Jack Perry now has that edge and swagger. Coming off all of this BS he's been dealing with, he has a chip on his shoulder. He's a dangerous cat right now and is about to blow up. During that same interview, Matt Jackson said this regarding the footage of CM Punk and Jack Perry's altercation at All In Wembley being aired on AEW Dynamite. Since we are wrestling FTR at Dynasty, and with it being the first time doing that since All In London, so many feelings and thoughts came rushing back. Old wounds were reopened. We decided it was only fair to be transparent and honest with our fans. We needed to give them context about why we feel we came up short at All In London. Our bodies were there in the ring wrestling FTR at Wembley, but our minds were in the back with the scapegoat in the entire situation, Jack Perry. The three of us specifically were wronged that night, and I haven't gotten over that. Nick Jackson added, as EVPs, we were given a task for that week by the boss, and we did it to the best of our abilities. Zero regret. When it comes to Vince McMahon starting a new pro wrestling promotion, Ringside News writes that while not yet finalized, McMahon has registered all his remaining shares for sale. Upon completion of this sale, he will sever all ties with TKO and WWE. McMahon's detachment from WWE prompts speculation. Could he venture into launching a new wrestling enterprise? According to contractual stipulations, should he pursue such a venture, McMahon would likely have to wait until January 26, 2025, a year after his resignation. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer consulted industry insiders to gauge their perspectives on McMahon's potential move. Meltzer reports that the majority of his sources opine that McMahon is likely finished with wrestling due to age, reputation, and lack of opportunities. Meltzer suggests that were it not for the lawsuit, McMahon could have negotiated television deals for a new venture. However, given the current circumstances, securing such deals and sponsorships would prove challenging. Nonetheless, some believe McMahon's substantial resources might embolden him to pursue this endeavor if he were younger. Meltzer further asserts that few individuals would be willing to join McMahon in launching a new company, given the stability of WWE and AEW. Nevertheless, a powerful figure behind the scenes conveyed to Meltzer a sense that McMahon might indeed undertake such a venture once legally permitted, given his deep-rooted involvement in the wrestling world. Those within WWE, while skeptical of McMahon's intentions, acknowledge his potential to pose a formidable challenge if he were to make a bid. Conversely, another influential individual views McMahon's chances are slim, citing the difficulty of competing with WWE and doubts regarding his ability to secure distribution amidst the ongoing lawsuit. A former associate of McMahon, who worked closely with him until recently, characterized him as not the same as before, but still a formidable contender in the industry. Following his heel turn on Raw, Chad Gable received a negative reception from fans in attendance. Touching on his last run in WWE, Kurt Angle noted on Wrestling Life Online, "When WWE brought me back after I spent 11 years in TNA, they had a different plan for me than I did. They wanted to induct me into the Hall of Fame first, and I was like, Vince, the Hall of Fame should be last. When I retire," he said. "Well, we want to induct you into the Hall of Fame and get a feel for you, make sure you're doing okay. When you get away from it at the age I was, fans could tell that I was not the same wrestler. I looked older, I wrestled like I was older, I felt like I was looking like an old man, and I didn't like what I saw." Advocating for WrestleMania to take place in the United Kingdom, Cody Rhodes said this at the recent Birmingham live event.
Birmingham, did you have a good time now? I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the last time I was here, I said that I would like to bring this championship back to the United Kingdom. Well, we did it, guys.
When it comes to the whereabouts of Vince McMahon amidst the sex trafficking lawsuit that is against him, Ringside News wrote that, according to reports from NBC News and CNBC, Vince McMahon appears to be maintaining his regular routines and seems unfazed by his ongoing legal battles. Sources familiar with McMahon and WWE have revealed how McMahon has been spending his time amid the allegations and legal disputes. In late March, McMahon returned to the United States from the Turks and Caicos Islands on a private plane, bringing 7 kittens and a puppy for his friends to adopt. He has also taken a trip to Italy and continues to enjoy life, as per one source who noted that McMahon is often ferried by a private driver from his Connecticut home to Manhattan. While in the city, he eats at restaurants like Il Danello East, sees his longtime barber for bi-weekly haircuts, and works out with a personal trainer multiple times a week. However, despite these leisurely activities, McMahon is also described as being quite guarded and often on the phone with his lawyers, mapping out plans in light of ongoing legal battles. He is said to be regularly in touch with former President Donald Trump, though the specifics of their conversations remain unknown. Overall, it appears that McMahon is balancing his personal enjoyment with the serious nature of the legal issues he faces, staying engaged in both areas of his life. Even then, it is to be noted that Vince McMahon no longer receives vocal support within WWE. In fact, he also received waivers of summons in the trafficking lawsuit as well. Only time will tell what will become of Vince McMahon in the end, as it seems he is not really affected by the lawsuit right now. Explaining why she turned down a return to WWE in 2009, Trish Stratus told Inside the Ropes, "I always said when I retired, if I go back, it's got to be for something important. Not important? That's not the right word. It's got to be for something that's good. No, that's not right either. It's got to be just something that has to check a few boxes. I want to work with someone I haven't worked with before. Selfishly, as a performer, I want to challenge myself, but I also want to elevate another person. I want to do stuff that hasn't been done before. I want to present things a bit differently. I just thought about coming back after being retired. I don't think that was a good platform to do it. I didn't think it was necessary. I don't think it would have been way better if Trish Stratus was in there." For a recap and update on the situation with Drew Gulak, who was recently accused of inappropriately touching Ronda Rousey during her time in WWE, Ringside News wrote that Drew Gulak's absence from NXT programming has caught the attention of WWE fans, prompting speculation about the reasons behind his removal. The situation arose after Ronda Rousey made allegations against Drew Gulak during an appearance on News Nation earlier this month. Rousey accused Gulak of inappropriately tugging on her pant drawstrings backstage at a WWE event in 2022. In response, Gulak claimed that the incident was accidental, stating that he inadvertently touched her drawstring while reaching out to shake her hand. Drew Gulak, that's who it was. I confronted him later and I was like, if I ever hear about you putting your hands on any other woman like this or doing anything like this to me ever again, we're going to have a problem. He was like, no, I'm glad you said something to me. He really backpedaled, but it put a sour taste in my mouth about the culture there and what's considered acceptable on how to touch and treat the women in the hallways and anywhere. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer provided insight to his subscribers subscribers, revealing that WWE conducted an investigation into Rousey's claims and interviewed individuals involved in the incident. While the outcome of the investigation remains undisclosed, Gulak has been notably absent from WWE programming. Regarding Ronda and Drew, what is unique about this one is both claimed there were witnesses. I was told WWE did an investigation, interviewed people, and Gulak has been murdered in storyline. So I presume that tells you the result of the investigation. In recent episodes of NXT, it was implied in the storyline that the No Quarter Catch crew approached Tony D'Angelo's family to take care of Gulak. This narrative development suggests that WWE may have opted to write Gulak off television in response to the allegations. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.